Hey guys, me at Wade here, back with another Borderlands video, continuing the hunt with day 2. As you can see, the first thing I want to do is sort out all my gear from day 1, decide what I'm keeping and what I'm getting rid of, as I need to make some space for some day 2 points, which and hopefully is a lot. This is just another highlight video. The main aim of today's video is to complete the base game storyline, and that's about it. So we'll continue sorting out the rest of the gear, we'll get it sold, and we'll carry on with the highlight video. I hope you enjoy. So as you can see, I've sold the gear I don't want, and the end result of that is I've left with just a handful of guns. I'm waiting to use the Nemesis gun. That's going to be helpful. I just need to be leveled up to 25. Start the mission going rogue, and on my way to doing it, I come across the red jabber, and I thought I'd take my chances and trying to get his drop, hoping to get a storm. This was the point where I realised that my gear wasn't really cutting it as much. I was relying a lot on the Lyuda, and even then it wasn't helping me out massively, so it was a bit of a challenge at this point, but we didn't get a drop, so we just carried on. Try my luck with the billies. Again, you can see I'm down. My gear was just really not good at this point. I needed to do something. I was begging for level 25. But yeah, the billies, I did manage to end up killing them, thanks to the smart gun, which was hunt of the day for day 1. So yeah, killed him, but didn't get anything out of it, which was a bit of a shame. While continuing the going rogue mission, I was using the smart gun, managed to get to level 25, and quite quickly put the Nemesis on, so that was a nice little highlight. Nemesis made short work of the unstoppable, made him actually quite stoppable. He didn't drop me anything though, so that was a bit of a shame. I did a save quit, and I thought I'd try my luck at the red jabber again in the hopes to get a storm or something like that. As you can see the difference, the Nemesis was cutting it a lot better than my previous gear, so I was quite happy to see the storm, and that was my first 3 points of the day, so I was pretty happy to get off the mark on day 2. Also tried my luck again with the Psycho Billies, and they didn't, Nemesis made a massive difference in fighting these guys. I didn't struggle as much. You can see I've got a legendary drop already, and I soon cleared them all out, checked out the drop, and it was just a skin, which isn't as exciting. Try my luck with the unstoppable again, since I had done a save quit since last gun up against him. He did take me down, but yeah, it wasn't too much of a battle, and he still dropped me nothing. My luck was very much against me at this point. Defeated Archimedes to finish the going rogue mission, which wasn't too much of an issue. I mean, he didn't drop me anything either, so still pretty cursed at this point. Then we had Aurelia. Now this was a fight I was looking forward to. I was hoping to get the frozen heart. I didn't include the whole fight for Aurelia. She was a bit tedious, and I was using a Nemesis for the most of it until I ran out of ammo and had to change to the smart gun. Luckily, the smart gun was still able to cut it at this point, considering it was a level 12 SMG. It was still helping me out relatively nicely. Once I killed her, I was quite disappointed not to see a legendary, as I was kind of hoping for a frozen heart at that point. Next up, we had Grave Ward, and probably one of the most popular farms from the base game, and I was again looking forward to this fight too, in the hopes to get some drops. I'm not going to include the whole fight with Grey Ward. Bottom line, Nemesis did the majority of the work again at this point. It was my only gun that was really competitive at this point, and I was very reliant on it. I needed some more gear all round, if I'm really honest. Got a little bit worried when I didn't see any gear drop from Grey Ward, as you can see, but then luckily just to the left of me did drop. Not that it gave me any points, which kind of sucked. Thanks, Grave Ward. While back on Sanctuary, I went to the vendors, managed to find a black hole, so considering that was more my level, I thought I'd use it. It's not worth any points, it just helps out my gear and my arsenal, which isn't too bad. And then decided to also sell the smart gun. I was back on Pandora doing the blood drive mission, and I thought I'd take the long way around and go up against the Crawley family and see if they could give me a drop. I mean, the whole strategy of doing a speed run had kind of gone out the window at this point. It took me a day to just get halfway through the story, so I was using this day to finish the story. So it was all about trying to get guns when it was a convenient time, and at this point it was a convenient time to get a drop from the Crawley family. And as you can see, a legendary has dropped from, I think it was Eddie that dropped something, so wiped out the rest of the Crawley family to go find out what had been dropped. It turns out it was a Lineage. I may have said that wrong, but it's worth 3 points and I'll take it. I faced the Demaskagans while I was here, hoping that they might drop me a Nighthawk in or a Monocle, so had a little bit of a fight with them. They weren't too problematic thanks to the Nemesis. First one did drop me a Monocle, which is really helpful, and so did the second one, which is even better. So 3 points for the first one, but already hunted for the second one. 3 points is 3 points though. And then decided to do the side mission for the Undertaker in the hope to get some form of drop from him. The enemies weren't exactly my level, like they're all like level 7s and 8s, so this wasn't difficult at all. Didn't even see the Undertaker. My clone literally wiped him out as he walked through the door, and he didn't drop me anything, so thanks for that. In Devil's Razor, I was heading to Roland's Rest, and I thought I'd have a crack at taking out the Antelope to see if I could get a drop from him, which in this case I didn't, so I was a bit cursed at this point. Then tried out Hot Carl. I know Hot Carl drops the Sledge's shotgun, so I did kind of want that before I went up. I went to Necro to fail or whatever, but yeah, this battle wasn't too bad. Managed to take out everyone with relative ease. Hot Carl didn't cause too many problems, and my action skills were really helping me at this point actually. So finished off Hot Carl. But he gave me nothing, which is the story of my life at the moment. I then ended up in the Splinter Lands, and I know there's a handful of unique bosses and enemies in this area. First one being the legendary Phoenix, which was a bit of a tough battle. I mean, I used my action skills through the first and second stage of going up against the Phoenix, and when it came down to doing the legendary Phoenix, yeah, I went down and I couldn't get up, couldn't get that second wind, and I think that was possibly my first death during this run. Used my action skills a bit more wisely the second time round, activated them both, and just ran like a madman, dodging the Phoenix as he was killing me. Fortunately, this tactic did pay off until I went down. I was a bit luckier at actually getting a second wind at this point. Didn't even get a drop out of it, so it was kind of all for nothing. I then went up against DJ Dead Skag and his band of merry men. This wasn't too bad. The Nemesis was still cutting it very nicely at this point, but I didn't get the drop I wanted, so on to the next one. The next mini boss I came up against was Road Dog on the way to see Big Donnie's Chop Shop and finish that mission. Road Dog wasn't too much of a handful, neither were his bandits surrounded by him. I was hoping to get the red line from Road Dog or just some form of points. Instead, I just leveled up to level 29 and that was about it. On my way to the Chop Shop, I came up against Princess Tarantella II. I can't pronounce it, I'm really honest. This was a relatively easy fight. I didn't get anything from her, but I'm sure I'll face her again in the future because I will be farming her at some point. I then went up against the Big D and Big Donnie. So it's essentially a double boss. It's a turret and a midget. It's not too bad. Both have particular drops, and I get a legendary from the Big D. Once I've finished Big Donnie, I'll go check it out. So from the Big D, I get the breeder, and that's worth a valuable 3 points, which I was very happy to get. And Donny drops me the Hunter Seeker. It's not worth any points, but I needed a new grenade mod, so this helps out towards my arsenal. During the Carnivora battle, I could see Rackman was in his cave, and this was an enemy I decided I was going to farm, because Rackman will drop me either the Night Flyer or the Nighthawk in, and I was relying very much on the Nemesis at this point, so I really wanted a newer gun, and I decided that Rackman was going to be the one to give it to me, and I made an absolute mess of this first fight, so I have included the whole fight. Just made an absolute meal out of it. I don't really know what happened, if I'm honest. He just started disappearing and I just couldn't find him, and even my clone and drones were having a bit of a problem because they just kept aiming for the racks, and yeah, he was just doing that whole disappearing, you see me now you don't trick, and I was getting really annoyed of it. But it was a fun fight. I do eventually trap him in the corner by the Portaloo. Decide to get my storm out and try and wipe him out there. Eventually I do end up killing him, but he didn't give me the drop, and like I said, I have decided to farm this guy. During one of the farms I had a very scary moment where he seemed to be stuck on the ceiling, and I thought he was going to drop me the Night Flyer on this occasion. And watch the Night Flyer go down would have been absolutely heartbreaking. I think I would have cried, because this was like the 10th time I'd done it. many attempts later, and I was kind of getting sick of it. I have included this whole fight because you can see the comparison to the first fight I had. I sort of mastered the fight at this point. I'd done it so many times. I'm not going to be specific about how many attempts it took me, but I was just determined enough. Fortunately, my patience paid off. I got a drop from him, and it was the Night Flyer. 3 points. I was happy. I was going to use it against the Tink Train. Now, I know the Night Flyer doesn't kill enemies, but my Sentinel and Clone are able to finish any enemies off that I do damage to, and the Night Flyer was dishing it out. It was just absolutely causing mayhem, and was a good addition to my arsenal. We then came up against one of my favourite bosses from Borderlands 3, which is Pain and Terror, featuring the Agonizer 9000. And I have included this whole fight in the highlight reel because I really enjoy this fight. It's quite fun. I have used the Nemesis for this just because the Nemesis has a corrosive element on it, so it was doing a lot more damage to Agonizer 9000 than my Night Flyer would. So yeah, enjoy this fight. I know I did. This is the point in the fight where Marcus does his little advertising promo, and it gave me an idea, and I thought I'd use this slot to advertise myself. So if you are enjoying my videos, don't forget to follow, like and subscribe. Check out my channel for more Wing It Wade content, but if there's one thing you can take from this segment, it's hit that subscribe button and check out me winging it with gaming. Right, back to the fight, and I've almost finished him off at this point. Again, the Nemesis has been pretty much doing all the work, and I thought with this final section where I've got to beat the core, I thought I would just change guns, which I do eventually do, to my trusty Night Flyer, which has been doing the majority of the work at this point. It got me through the guts of Carnivora pretty nicely and makes short work of the Agonizer until I go down. And I decide to bring out the Storm just to finish him off. I then tried to kill Pain and Terror with the Night Flyer, even though I was never going to be able to because that's the gimmick of the gun. So I just stabbed them both. Fortunately, that must have been lucky because I got the loaded dice, which was a nice addition to my arsenal. It gave me 3 points and it increases my luck, which is something I really needed at this point. And that was it. I didn't get no Agonizer, I didn't get anything else. During the Angels of Speed Demons mission, I came across Captain Funk and Sloth. I was focused more on Sloth, and my clone was focus more on Captain Funk. Because I'm effectively up against 2 unique bosses, I was hoping that I would get a decent amount of points from these guys, like hopefully 3 or 6, but Sloth didn't drop me anything, and I unfortunately Captain Funk, he dropped me a Warlord, which gave me nothing, which was mega grateful for. But I did get a fastball for 3 points, so at least it wasn't nothing, but it was less than what I wanted, considering I was carrying loaded dice. Then had the quick battle with the Manvark. I haven't included all the other stages with the Manvark. Yeah, so I quickly took him on in the hopes to get some form of drop from him, but unfortunately, my luck was still against me. While I was in this area, I decided to do the Demons in the Dark mission, as I do like the Lord of the Rings reference. I enjoy it. I don't know about you lot, but I think it's a pretty cool Easter egg side quest. But the main reason I did this mission was I needed to go up against a boss and was going to try and get the Flood. So went up against the almighty Lagomar. I know he's the drop for the Flood, and the Flood is a relatively good gun, even though I didn't necessarily need it because my Night Flyer was doing a relatively good job. I was just going down every now and then for whatever reason. But yeah, didn't get the drop, so I carried on with the mission. It was a while into it. I completed Angels and Speed Demons and was onto the Great Vault. I tried my luck again with Hot Carl, as I was pretty determined to get Sledge's shotgun at this point. So I thought I'd try my luck again now I had the loaded dice. And my luck seemed to have paid off, because I got Sledge's shotgun. That's worth 3 points and is a terrific gun for my arsenal. So I was quite excited to have the shotgun and instantly thought I was going to use it up against the Antelope. And as you can see, it was doing damage. It was absolutely killing it, and yeah, it was a very welcome addition to my backpack and my gear. So me and my clone take out the Antelope. Unfortunately, I don't get a drop from the Antelope, which is the story of my life. I did get a drop from a badass enforcer during the Great Vault mission. It's not worth any points, but it's a corrosive cutsman, so I was pretty happy with it. I then had Raquel the Anointed. Again, not too much of a bad fight. The Sledge's shotgun was helping out massively at this point and was making some short work of some enemies. Once I had defeated Raquel the Anointed, I didn't get a drop, which is, again, story of my life at this point. I then had to deal with Luke and Nathan the Anointed. This one wasn't too bad. Luke was a bit of a pain, because he's that Anointed where he's got the shield and he creates the fire floor, and it can just be an absolute, well, yeah, it could be annoying. Nathan went down with relative ease, if I'm really honest, and then I just had to deal with Luke the Anointed. So I was trying to be sneaky and sneak around the back and see if I could get him that way. As you can see, he was putting up a bit of a fight, and he did his whole floor fire thing, and that did bring me down. So Luke was causing me a little bit of grief at this point. I brought out a shotgun to get my second wind, and he brought out his shield. So I just for whatever reason, I just couldn't damage him. Ran out of ammo. I died. So was a little bit gutted by that one, but these things happen. I was then trying to sneak up on him in the hopes to get the drop on him. And then I realised that he somehow died during that first fight. I know I didn't kill him, but he was right where I left him, and he didn't drop me anything either, so that was always fun. Next unique boss was Crush Jaw, the Target of Opportunity. He wasn't too bad at all, and I did get the Whiskey Tango Foxtrot drops for 3 points. And in his little red chest in his hut, I managed to find myself a Bangarang. So that was just another gun to add to my arsenal, because it wasn't worth any points. So much appreciated. I then had to go up against Troy. Now, I haven't included this whole fight, as it was a little bit of a slog due to me using the Night Flyer. The Night Flyer was still doing damage to most enemies, but when it comes to the bosses, it wasn't really cutting it as much as I wanted to, and I'd already run out of ammo with Sledge's shotgun at this point. So yeah, this one was a little long-winded, but all in all, I mean, it wasn't too bad and could have been a hell of a lot worse. Eventually killed him, and after the cutscene I looked around for the loot to see if he dropped me anything, and nothing. Not a single drop for points, so I have to come back and face him in the future. I was on Necro Defeo and I went up against the Blinding Banshee, which is one of the first unique enemies you can go up against. Didn't get a drop from Blinding Banshee, so we'll be coming back to that one in the future. I then had General Tron and was hoping that he would actually give me a gun, because his brother didn't. Fortunately, my load of dice seemed to start working because I managed to get the incursion, and that's worth 3 points, so I'm still happy at that. I then decided to do another target of opportunity and face Atomic and Celestro, which is another double team type boss. My clone was focused more on Celestro and I was focused more on Atomic, and as you can see, my Night Flyer was cutting it with these types of enemies, which was quite handy. Atomic didn't take too long and Celestro died quickly after. I also got level 35. No drop from Celestro, and same goes for Atomic, so we'll be back to fight them. I then killed Lieutenant Preston for the story, in the hopes that he does have a drop. I wasn't sure if Lieutenant Preston did have a drop or not. I thought I'd include it anyway, because yeah, he didn't give me anything. I think he might drop the Scorpio, but I don't know. I might have to look into that, so I may be coming back for him. During in the Shadow of Starlight mission, I didn't have very many unique enemies, but I did have the Brood Mother. She does have a couple of drops, so was gonna hope that I get something from her to add to my tally, but nothing happened, so that was always fun in games. We then had the final boss of the base game, being Tyrion, God Queen, Destroyer, etc, etc. So I have included the whole fight for Tyrion just because she is the final fight of the base game, and she does have a good couple of drops. I mean, you got the King's Call, the Queen's Call, and a gun that begins with B that I don't think I can say. For the purposes of the hunt though, I will be calling that gun the Tyrion, because Tyrion is an absolute, you know what. So yeah, I made a bit of a meal out of that whole boss fight, and after the cutscene I looked around to see if she dropped me anything, but nothing. I didn't get a king's call, no queen's call, not even the other gun. So yeah, Tyrion is an absolute... Anyway, once we'd finished the base game and we'd listened to a bit of Alicia Keys sing about a girl on fire, I'd unlocked the Lilith's chest in Lilith's room, and all of this gear counts towards points, which is great news. So I get 3 points for the Commander Planetoid, 3 points for the Cosmic Crater, 3 points for the Saw Bar, and 3 points for the Brainstormer, which is a nice healthy 12 points to add up to the tally. I then decide to call it there for the day. I go through my skill trees, I'm pretty happy with where I'm going and pretty satisfied of how I'm building my character. I then go through all the loot of everything that I've been picking up today and adding up all the points so I can add it up to the whole overall total. As you can see, day 2's points, I ended up with 42 in total, so wasn't too bad, wasn't too good. Could have been better if I'm really honest. Add that to day 1, I'm on 83 points overall, and looking forward to day 3, 4 and 5. Hunt of the day goes to the Night Flyer, not only because this took me ages to get, but it was the fact that once I had got it, it was holding its own against some of the tougher enemies and most of the little enemies. Granted, it can't kill anything, but because I was using the Sentinel and the Clone, it was doing exactly what I needed it to do. I hope you've enjoyed this video, guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe and check out my channel for more Wing It Way content. I'll be back tomorrow, but for now, it's goodbye from me.